Real hot girl shit. And if the beat live, you know Lil Juke made it. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body crazy, curvy, wavy, big titties, little waist. Body crazy, curvy, wavy, big titties, little waist. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Look at how I body that, ate it up and gave it back. Yeah, you look good, but they still wanna know we're making it. Saucy like a barbecue, but you won't get your baby back.
That's how we get ready for the show every time.
Listen, it don't take much for me, okay?
All right, well, let's go ahead. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Plus Size and Powerful Podcast. We are doing pop-ins all month in honor of Women's History Month. Yeah. In case this is your first time famous Aziz, aka Zebo, aka the Human Universe, aka your favorite girl, and I have a special guest today. Listen, y'all don't even understand the powerhouse that is right now. I'm gonna let her go ahead and introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much, Aziza. So my name is Erica Hood-Vincent. For those who don't know me, I am a systems and income stream strategist, and I work with impact-driven, service-based entrepreneurs, and I help them go from overwhelmed to optimized so you can sell and scale your services with ease.
Yes. So tell us a little bit more about exactly what it, well, without giving away the tea, because let them know that they got to come to you to get to get all of the tea.
There is an invoice attached. Amen. Okay, so what was the question?
Tell us a little bit more about exactly what it is that you do.
Sure. So I do the systems work behind the scenes so you don't feel all over the place. I make your website talk to your email. I make your email talk to your text message marketing. I remove all of the human touch points that you have to do, and I automate as much as possible without losing the client experience that you're trying to convey through systems and automation.
So you upgrading businesses is what you're saying. You upgrading and elevating and pushing forward.
I help you get more of your time back so you can spend that getting into the actual bag.
Yeah. I got to spend a moment to just shout on that.
Thank him and praise him.
So how did you get into this type of work? What led you to, and is it for specifically women, or do you work with men and women?
I can work with anyone who is in business, because every single business in every single industry, no matter what gender you are, or non-binary, because we in 2021, they need systems. So I'm not ignorant to working with different types of people. I just prefer to work with women, and I also prefer to work with women that's in a service-based space, because I feel like the service-based space brings about more impact, and I'm very, very impact driven. So I like to work with people that have a business or that provide a service or a product that brings about change, that can change someone's life or business for the better. So that's what I prefer, and because I'm a boss, I can choose who I want to work with.
I love that. Being just with businesses that make an impact. I love that. So what are some of the types of businesses that you've worked with, that you're saying that those businesses make an impact?
Yeah, so I work with media production managers. I work with PR specialists. I work with web designers. I work with one lady. She's a hair braider out of her home, but she's specific about helping people who has like alopecia, who has like hair loss for different reasons. That's impactful, right? I've worked with hairstylists, I work with barbers, I work with nail techs, lash techs, I've worked with people in nonprofit. I've worked with coaches, consultants, speakers, I work with a gamut of a lot of people who, so people may feel like people that's in the beauty space, so hair, nails, lashes, it's still impactful because you're changing the way someone looks so they can feel different and better about themselves, because we all know we show up based on how we feel, and how we feel is based on how we look sometimes for some people. So that's still impactful.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen with helping different businesses level up?
The challenges I see the most is they're in their own way. They especially for those of us who are people of color, I think this is more of a systemic and generational challenge that is a hurdle that we're slowly beginning to overcome. But for Black people, everything has always been hard, right? And so in entrepreneurship, it is just this transfer of understanding mentally that entrepreneurship has to be hard. I have to do all the things. I have to have my hand in everything. And the running theme is I'm all over the place. And entrepreneurship is totally the opposite. The biggest issue is that they're in their own way because they're trying to learn and Google and YouTube how to do everything when they're supposed to be outsourcing those things and just show up and do what God has gifted you in your lane to do. And that's it.
Come, you talking to me? I didn't know that. I didn't know that I was going to be talked directly to. I don't know. I didn't know that this
Listen,
was.
God told me to tell you. No, just
I love that you said that, because oftentimes, too often, once we move into entrepreneurship, we think that everything has to be done from human resources to the sale, to the packaging, to the shipping and everything. And then we become overwhelmed and get to a point where it'd be like, okay, well, maybe entrepreneurship wasn't for me. But you still have to get that purpose out there. You still have to become an ImpactHer. I love that.
exactly. And I guess the other top one would be is money, right? So there's so much emotion tied to money. Again, for those of us, for people of color, there is this emotional attachment and there's this lack of money mindset attached to money and people of color that also gets in the way from them leveling up in their business. And once I show people, if you would just stop clenching your fist so tight, holding on to your dollar, and release it and give it to the people who can actually serve you and serve you well. Let me show you how much money I can make you, because I open up a whole lane. Because right now, this is how much space you're operating in your lane, and God wants you to operate in this much space, right?
I'm gonna got up and ran off on the camera after this.
Run a lap. Listen, run a lap. Yeah. So, a lot of what I do, is not only from a physical system standpoint and helping them automate and do funnels and all of that kind of stuff, but also it's a mindset adjustment as well. People just can't see the investment of buying their time back. I was working with a client, and in her consultation, she would spend well over 15 hours a week just doing back end stuff that she hated, that she absolutely hated. And so I told her to put a base rate. I said, let's calculate a base hourly rate, right? Of what you would get paid an hour if this was a job. And it was like, I think it was like $37 an hour. I said, now take 37 times 15. That's how much you're losing. That's how much you're losing in money because you're doing work that you hate.
Ooh, that's good. So when you talk about the mindset, as far how do you, is it something that you teach, or is it something that you see in somebody and you just need to bring out? I mean, do they have to, is it a thing where you either have to have it or you don't?
It's all three of those things. So one, I do teach it. So what I do in terms of teaching, I teach you how to peel back the layers and get down to the core of what the money block is. Because every money block is centered around some personal trauma, some personal experience, some personal bondage, some personal setback that's in your way that won't release you and freeing you to get to the money with ease, right? We God wants us to get to the bag with ease. The Bible says that there is no toil. Like he doesn't want any toil or worry or doubt or hardship. And like operating in our gifts, it brings about grace. Grace is easy, right? And so if that's what God said, it's not what I said, it's what God said. If that's what God said, then let's get whatever is in the way out. So the biggest thing is helping them peel back the layers of what's in the way of your money. And most of the time, it is fear of rejection. It is doubt. It is, self-esteem. It's worrying about what other people gonna say. It's worrying about failing. And I'm just like, you never failed before ever in your life? Like no one has ever told you no, you never got dumped, you never got cheated on, you never got a credit card rejection. You nothing, like your life has been green light all the way through.
Come on.
Because if you survive that, it's literally the same thing.
Yes.
Right. So, and then to your last point, you either have it or you don't. Absolutely. You either have that fire inside of you to say, yeah, I've been dumped. People didn't let me have a voice. I've been backstabbed. I am scared, of what people are going to say. But because I have this fire burning down inside of me, I have this grit. I have this determination. I have this ambition so much. I'm going to do it in spite of. So you either have that fire and that flame within or you don't. And if you don't have it, I can't go buy a candle and light it for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. And I see, well, just listening to you, I see that you incorporate a lot of spirituality into it and a lot of personal development. Is that something that is just in you and it's a part of the package deal of working with you? How does all of those things, business, personal development, and spiritual growth, how does that all work together?
Well, funny you say that. I am a first lady, but I always say I'm not your average first lady. And I'm also from the hood. So I'm from Chicago, both the west side and the south side, wild, wild hundreds. Um, so I come from struggle, right? I come from like I'm the epitome of get it out the mud. I'm a 70s baby, had two drug addictive, alcohol, crack cocaine parents, both on my mother's side and the father's side. So I know what struggle is like. I know what hand to fist eating is like. I know what trying to figure out where my next meal is going to come from. I know what figuring out like having to go live with grandma down south. I know what sleeping on couch to couch and pallets. I know what that is. I lived through that, right? And fast forward, of course, living with grandma, she kept me in church. So those were those seeds planted younger, but you get grown and you be like, I don't need church. And then when life slap you around, you be like, okay, I think I do need God. Let me holler at God again. Right. And so, so fast forward, my now husband, then boyfriend, he was like, this street stuff ain't working, because I hustled, I did everything, sold everything, like ultimate hustler, and it gets to a point where you just get burnt out from the street hustle. So I have a lot of like college mixed with street sense, but then we also said let's try to add God into this thing, and then we went back to church and did all the things. He became a minister, then he became a pastor, then that innately I became a first lady. I'm like, okay, God is really being funny right here, right? Because he takes the two most hood people and put them in the pulpit. Okay, Lord, have your way. But I found that I needed to be the face for people who look like me and come from where we come from and say, guess what? God didn't forget about you either. Right. So I do incorporate a lot of biblical principle and teaching into business, because the more and more I study the Bible, the more it's literally a whole business come up. Right. So I'm like, oh, I mean, it even says in the Bible that God wants us to have at least 7 streams of income, and some translations say 7 or 8. So in order to have streams of income, you got to have systems. Everything God did was strategic and systematic. I mean, from when he created the earth in Genesis, the first like 13 verses, he did everything in a systematic order. Just saying. So I'm just riding with Jesus in a real hood way. So
I love that. I love that. So I met you through my sister. And I've watched your mentor and mentee relationship with her. How important would you say it is to have someone who is more experienced, at least in your corner, even if it's not, like a hired type of um
Yeah,
I think right now, um because we as Black women, we always have this thing where we can't get along with each other, and I don't want to make it about that, but I think now,
no,
now that we're
it's about that. Talk about it. It's
trying,
definitely about that.
now that we're trying to come out of it, or at least some of them, or some of us are, it's almost like, how do we get to approaching someone about a mentorship situation, and is that even possible? Can you speak
Yes.
to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So to answer your first question, it is really, really important that everyone who is in entrepreneurship, especially if you are a bloodline breaker, so I consider myself a bloodline breaker. So I've broken several generational curses in both my maternal and paternal bloodline, drugs being one of them. Keeping all my kids not getting put in the system, not being addicted to hardcore drugs. I mean, I've broken those barriers. Being the first one to graduate college, being the first one to, you know, be really, really successful in corporate America, being the first one to start and have several businesses. Like I've been breaking a lot of bloodline and generational curses, but I was not able to do that without coaches and other mentors who were 4, 5, 6 steps ahead of me in the arena of mental abundance, money mindset abundance, and then just overall resources. So it's really, really important that you send the elevator back down, especially again, going back to us people of color. We just don't know what that look like. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like we're not born with trust funds and silver spoons in our mouth. And I hate when people um I ain't gonna go there. I I I don't like when people get a little bit of change in their pocket, or they ride the coattail of other people and make a name for themselves off of other people, but they ain't really popping. Like, you didn't do this on your own, right? Give credit where credit is due. I don't like that. In terms of how do you go about getting a mentorship, so mentorship is a equal value exchange partnership, and this is something else that people do not understand. So what makes this different from coaching, right? You are literally paying a coach money to say, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Seems like you do. Seeing the testimony, seeing the website, whatever. I want to pay you money to teach me what I don't know so I can get to the next level, right? So it is a one-way, one-road street, right? So the exchange is a monetary exchange for a strategy and or plan implementation, right? A mentorship is a even value exchange of integrity, of services, of support, sisterhood, right? Like, my clients don't call me to get a pep talk. You didn't pay me for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm having a down day. Can you just give me a word? You didn't pay me for that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you have to just really, really understand what the value exchange is and the mentorship, and you have to understand what the understand and be able to articulate what the expectation is on both sides. Boundaries, when they can call, when they can't call. What are you bringing to the table? How do you add value to my life or to my business, right? Because most mentors don't charge. If they do, it's not a regular amount. So you have to figure out, how do you add value, right? So Leah, as we all know, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. Like, a year ago, leaving, where she was born and raised, Milwaukee, and moving across the country, that was just a conversation, right? She said, I'm going to do this in 2020, in 2022. I'm like, we can do it in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the value exchange is not only, like, first of all, I always say, you don't even supposed to be in this body. Like, in your age, you are just so mature. Like, her ambition and her confidence, it's like, I know women my age, right? So if I'm a 70s baby, of course, like, do the math, right? So I know women my age that don't even have a fifth of confidence and ambition and drive and goals that Leah has. I'm like, you are light years ahead of your time. But not only that, she brings this creativity skills that to the table that I don't like to do. Oh, there's a value exchange there, right? So to answer your question, how do you go about finding mentors? Find a mentor that you can equally pour into in an area that is a void for them. So find the void that that you can feel in the mentor that you want to work with and have that conversation.
I love that. I love that. So, I was reading a book by Dr. B. Thomas, and it was a book that was specifically dedicated to African American entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs. If I didn't add that in, she was talking about all of the barriers outside of ourselves, outside of our community, but literally like systems that are in place that devalue the businesses that African American women start. A lot of our businesses are labeled as high risk. So we end up with less funding. We end up already starting behind. How would you say, or how would you advise women to start to overcome some of those barriers that are placed on us outside of our control?
Yeah, that is a great question. I don't think that has ever been asked in any of my interviews. This is a great question. So we are 400 plus years behind. Okay. We are 400 plus years behind in financial literacy. If you come from where I come from, look the way I look, we didn't talk about money around the dinner table. We didn't even sometimes sit at the dinner table to eat, right? It was either they had it or they didn't. It was if it was the first in lunch, you better get in line with everybody else. So I had to fight with the dope dealers. I had to fight with the family members that they borrowed money from all throughout them. I had to fight with the bill collectors and whatever scraps I got left as the child, right? Either we got it or we didn't. And so that was the extent of financial literacy growing up for a lot of us, right? Not everybody. So don't be all in the comments going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But for a lot of us, learning about good debt versus bad debt, learning about good credit versus bad credit, learning money management, right? Mm-hmm. For most of us, we win it if we got a positive in both our checking and savings account. If your checking nor your savings is not negative, for most Black people, that's winning. Mm-hmm. But in entrepreneurship, boo, that's losing. That's completely losing. So the reason why the government and the reason why systemically they look at women of color as high risk. This is Women's History Month. We couldn't even get a bank account in our name until 1975. So to put this into perspective, I was born in 1976. To put this in a better perspective, if a woman was not able to independently control her finances up until 44, I'm 44, I'll be 45 years ago, and we're already 400 years behind in financial literacy. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The average Black woman is behind everybody in the human race, even those, even our Asian counterparts, even our Hispanic counterparts, even our Latin counterparts. They are above or around the 8 ball faster than we are, right? Because they pool their money together, which is the other systemic issue for us as Black women. We have to struggle, right? So if you are 70 or 80s or even the early 90s, baby, because crack epidemic went all the way down through to like the top tip of the 90s, right? You came from struggle. Black men were being incarcerated, being killed, and being removed from the homes. So not only is she working 2 or 3 jobs, that's why we got all these latchkey kids, latchkey babies, because mama was working 2 or 3 jobs just to pay bills, She didn't have anything to put up and put away. Now, information, 2000 hit with the era of like it's information era. Now there's more access to more information. Now there's more avenues to get knowledge, to gain more independence and freedom. So for a lot of women who was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, let me go read up on some stuff. Oh, I could start a business doing this. We literally have to self-teach ourselves, which, going back to the first question that you asked me, what is the biggest issue that's in our way? Because we had to always self-teach ourselves. For the most part, we are taught we can't let our issues and our circumstance weigh us down. We have to just keep it moving and keep it pushing. But while we're keeping it moving and keeping it pushing, there is like this brick of weight that we're dragging along with us through every area of our life. So if it's going back to school to get that degree because you feel like you have to be qualified through a degree, that's another lie for another day. I won't get off into that. Or they like, okay, I need more credentials to get paid more money in this space, right? They're not learning the value of money. No one is still teaching them the value of money, and pile that with no one is teaching Black people how to heal. Just now in recent years, like 5 to 7 years, has mental health been creeping up as the forefront of conversation.
Yes.
5 to 7 years. My daughter is 11. Within the range of 5 to 7 years, mental health is now becoming a real topic of conversation. But if you Black, if you wear Black skin, bruh, you got trauma. You got short range, short-term trauma, long-term trauma that stem back from childhood, and no one is teaching us how to heal. So we carry all of that even over into entrepreneurship. We carry how to handle money, time management, how we spend, how we balance, how we budget. And for most of us, I know we talk about it and we crack jokes, and there's all the memes, all across IG. When people get a little bit of money, they ball out. Because we ain't used to having it. No shade. We just ain't used to having it. And for most of us, we want to just feel like, what does it feel like to wear clothes with labels? Or to eat at these restaurants, or rent out this Tesla, or rent out this Maserati just to see what it feels to sit like that. And guess what? We're not wrong in a sense for wanting to have that experience. Right. So I don't disagree with wanting to have the experience, but I do disagree in the sense of get your bag so you can always have this experience. Don't just make this a one-time hit it and quit it experience. Get to your bag, educate yourself on how to get this money, maintain the money, multiply the money, reinvest the money, flip the money, and have multiple bags. So that's why I don't know, I just go hard in the paint to make sure that all the clients or anyone I mentor who come my path, like I leave you on fire. Like, I thought I knew this, but I don't know nothing.
When this end, I'm just gonna run. I'm gonna run the block. I'm gonna be tired, but I'm gonna do it because now I'm like revved up. So we are coming to a close. Let people know how they can find you if they want to get in contact with you for some of your coaching services. Let them know where they can contact you.
Yes. So in terms of coaching, I'm very protective about my time. So I am not taking any more mentors for 2021. Let's just, okay. If you want to book a session with me for coaching, you can go to ericahvincent.com/chat, or you can go to impacttoincrease.com/systems chat. I think my next available opening is like sometime in April because she booked and busy. I'm literally, I inboxed Aziz. I was like, I double booked. Oh my God. So what y'all don't see, I have a team meeting going on Zoom in my ear while I'm doing this interview. But I can do that, right? So but it's only because I got out of my way and stop doing all the things and say, I'm going to hire these people to do the things that I don't want to do, not really good at. And so they can do project work while I'm out here getting exposure for the business, getting exposure for myself, leveraging other people's platforms. I'm literally giving y'all some strategy. Write this down. So it's really important that you do podcasts, you do interviews, you leverage other people's platforms to share what you know, how you can be a benefit or asset to them. Slide in my inbox, have a conversation with me. Go to impacttocrease.com/systems chat. If you are sick of working your business backwards, being all over the place, you're sick and taking payments through Cash App, you want a more automated way to have everything done systematically through email, through text, through posting, through client onboarding, customer fulfillment, all the things, we can have a conversation about that for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Erica, for joining us today, First Lady.
Not your average first lady, though. Catch it.
I appreciate you so much for giving us any of your time. Booked and busy. We all trying to be like you. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Thank you again. Make sure y'all share this video. Make sure y'all are leaving comments. Inbox her. Like she telling y'all can inbox her. You better take advantage. Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy.
Oh, I ain't worried about it because my block game's strong. But also I want to just say thank you for just even considering me, for having me on your podcast and on your platform, and give me the ability to share just any knowledge. I hope it was like, as a matter of fact, for those who caught most of this this segment, drop a comment down below and let me know what one of your aha moments or what one of your takeaways were, because I want to make sure wherever I go, you take something away. The biggest thing I want you to take away is you have to release the clenched fist so you can give, because when you give, you're going to get it back tenfold. It's in God's word and he don't lie. The second thing I want you to understand is go find a mentor. Figure out how you can bring value exchange to that mentor and have a conversation. Talk about your upcoming masterclass. Oh, I forgot about that. Number 3, I want you to learn money, right? The way I know that you didn't ask this, but it's in my spirit. So let's just roll with the spirit.
Okay.
I had to learn money because I went through bankruptcy, right? First of all, you don't be embarrassed about your money faults. If you want to talk money, don't be embarrassed by the mistakes that you're making with it. I have been in credit card debt, like 13 credit cards. I have been in bankruptcy. I just wrapped up in 2017 for a 5-year Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. But guess what? That's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants you to be ashamed, embarrassed, right? Feeling down and feeling bad. So what I did was, in that 5 years that I was cut off from credit cards and spending limitations, I was really cash heavy, right? Because I didn't have any credit lines because I was in bankruptcy. I couldn't apply for any credit because shit was shot. You know what I'm saying? So I became very, very cash heavy. And when you become very, very cash heavy, you become very disciplined with your money. Right. So the first thing is to become disciplined with your money. But then when you become disciplined with your money, what I did was I went to Investopedia.com, and I learned money language, vocabulary. I literally would go from A to Z, and every day I will learn all the A's, I will learn all the B's, I will learn all the C's, and then I will Google it, right? And then I start getting around people and going to YouTube videos where people are talking about money. Grant Cardone, if you know Grant Cardone, drop another one in the chat. He's one of my coaches. I'm in his mastermind program. I'm going to the 10X conference next week, right? Jewel Tankard, she is a first lady of had the show The Tankards. She's a first lady, but she's heavy in investing in heavy metals. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like you could buy silver and gold and it just accumulates. It doesn't depreciate, it appreciates over time. Wait, what? Stocks, Forex, all of these things. So fast forward, I'm gonna let you go, but make a commitment to yourself to learn money in your space. Do not be held in bondage by you have a 500 credit score. Get with like I did, get with a credit restoration specialist who's going to help you restore your credit. Get on the right track. Discipline yourself. Oh, she said talk about the upcoming math class. So on the end of this month, last Thursday of this month, I am having a Dominate Your Discovery Call master class. And so basically this class is for anyone who has to have consultations, appointments, one-on-ones, discovery calls before, before they can see if a person is a good fit, and they cannot turn their contacts into contracts. They are going way over the time limit and all of this stuff. And so I'm doing a master class called How to Dominate Your Discovery Call. So you want to make sure that you tap into that. I'll put the link. I'll drop the link in the comments of this thread because I didn't have it. I forgot.
Is that for people who are interested in coaching, or is that for anybody, period?
Anybody who has to have a consultation, an assessment, a one-on-one, with like prospects, right? Okay. So yeah. So if you are struggling to convert those freebie calls, those free consultations into paid ones for one reason or another, then this masterclass is for you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, again, this will be available, you all. So go back and rewatch it multiple times. Make sure you contact Erica. Make sure you join that master class. Again, thank you so much for giving us your time. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you follow this page.
And follow me on Instagram at Erica H. Vincent. On Instagram, I live in my stories. If you want to know a day in the life about me, Facebook stories, Instagram stories, you can get a day in the life of me all the time. So,
all right. Well, we thank you so much. All right, y'all. We are gonna head out. Bye.